So let's just take $2,200 for example, because that can be quite a common number, or kind of roughly within that range for the flat rate attorneys. This is 2022, so if you're watching this video a few years from now and inflation has kicked in, maybe it could be a little more expensive. So I'm just giving you a rough idea for the current moment. Okay? So let's say it's a flat rate of $2,200, right? If you call that attorney on the phone, if you text them, if you email them, if you meet with them in person, or anybody else at the office that's dealing with your file, it's $2,200 grand total. Like you might do a fee in the beginning. Like let's say you give them $1,000 in the beginning as a retainer, right? Then you'll pay them $1,200 at the end. But regardless, it's $2,200 grand total, and they're giving you a high level of representation, and you can interact with them as much as needed. Now, there might be some nuances of the deal where the deal dies, you move on to another deal, then there might be some additional fees involved. But if it's like start to end the same deal, unless there's something atypical about the deal, that flat rate fee will apply. Now let's compare that to non-flat rate attorneys, right? Every time you call them or text them or email them or socialize with anybody in their office, they reserve their right to turn on their charges, right? So let's say, I'm just creating a scenario here. Let's say they charge $400 an hour. I'm making up a number. All right? And let's say they look at how all the interaction with you over the course of a given week. They read all your emails, they respond to your emails, they answer your calls. Whatever conversations you've had with them equate to 2 hours of their time. I'm just making up a number. Okay, well that now is $800, and your deal is not done yet. You might not even be in contract yet. So, you can anticipate that, especially if there's a lot of back and forth on a given deal, and there almost inevitably will be, that can be a very, very pricey transaction. So I recommend thinking about and highly considering the flat rate attorneys. I also recommend definitely going with a real estate specialized attorney, meaning they specialize in real estate or maybe even only do real estate. This is a great idea, okay? Because for some strange reason that I've never been able to understand, many attorneys of other specializations, simply because they're a licensed attorney, believe that they can manage a real estate deal effectively, and in truth, they may close 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 real estate deals per year, and they do have a little bit of experience. But if anything happens that is out of the norm, and certainly out of the norm can happen on even the nicest build, that attorney oftentimes is fishing for answers, and it pushes back your closing date and your timeline substantially until they figure out what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying that they're incompetent. I'm just saying that they don't specialize in that area of the law, so they might not be as readily able to manage your file in an off situation, comparatively speaking, to someone who does specialize in that area. So definitely keep that in mind and consider going with a real estate specialized attorney. Let's work backwards for a second. If you were going through a divorce, I don't wish that on anybody, but let's say you were, right? You most likely wouldn't hire a real estate attorney that I'm describing to represent you in your divorce. you would hire a divorce attorney or a family related attorney, like someone that specializes in that area. So why does it not work the other way? Why is it like, okay, if you hire a divorce or a family attorney to get divorced, why would you not hire a real estate attorney to represent you in a real estate transaction, right? So, you wouldn't hire a real estate attorney to manage your divorce file, right? Let's not hire a divorce or family attorney to manage a real estate file, right? It just makes sense. These real estate specialized attorneys close tons of deals every year. They know exactly what they're doing. They're very sophisticated in this particular end of the law, and I highly recommend hiring them. One last case in point on hiring attorneys. Let's talk a little bit about union-based attorneys. Now, this is strictly my experience, not necessarily a fact, strictly my subjective opinion. Okay? I have worked with many people, buyers and sellers alike, who were members of a union at their job or had some kind of union connection. I've gotten along great with them. I don't have any problems one way or the other with unions. I got tons of respect for you folks, so just take these comments treading softly. I promise you, I'm just sharing experience. These union-based attorneys, even if they are real estate specialized or claim to be real estate specialized, it's been my personal experience that they're very, very hard to get a hold of. They're very difficult to communicate with, and they do not generally get back to you in a timely fashion. Just been my subjective experience based on my time out in the field for the last 8 years or so. Now, they may very well be nice people. They may very well be highly competent, and they may understand the real estate business very, very well. From a legal perspective, they probably understand it much, much better than I do. I'm not arguing that at all. I'm just suggesting that they oftentimes are serving a very, very large clientele. They have a lot of files on their desk. They may be very, very preoccupied with their other workings. It's very, very difficult to get specialized attention or really even any attention. And they entice you. That's not a one-size-fits-all, man. I'm not saying this is every union. I'm just giving you my opinion in general, okay? They entice you by offering you lower fees, right? So, it will be a below-market fee structure, and the client bites that hook, line, and sinker and says, hey, great, I got a union representing a real estate-related legal professional. They can do everything that anybody else can do, and they're charging me a fraction of the cost, and you buy into that. But you're going to close a month and a half later. It's going to be a drag. Everything just works so much slower, and by the time you get to the end of the line, you're so frustrated and aggravated, and you're just happy to get the keys to your new home or have your home sold or whatever the case may be. And you just never really know or understand that if you just went with a traditional real estate specialized attorney, everything could have been much, much simpler, and you wouldn't have been through all that chaos, and they would have been available for you when you needed them. So I would be very, very careful when hiring a union-based attorney. That's just been my experience with it. They're very, very slow to respond. And if you think about it, this is a big deal because agents and attorneys and lenders and appraisers and secondary inspectors, if the first inspection requires it, all these folks need to be in constant communication, and it's just not good when we're not. So I hope this video was helpful and useful to you. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe. Forward it to anybody who might be interested. Bruce Marziani, over and out. Thank you.